to redo one of my canister filters, and I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So if you like this video, hit subscribe and like, and enjoy. Alright, so we're going to be working on the canister, whether you're replacing things or just rinsing it out. Obviously you got to unplug it first and disconnect the hoses. But it's always a really good idea to get some established tank water into 5-gallon buckets or a tote or something. A, to house your biological media so you don't lose any of the beneficial bacteria on that. And if you are reusing any of the sponge or mechanical media, it's good to throw that and rinse that out in established tank water also. Now, this step is particularly important for what we're going to be doing today because we're going to be actually replacing a bunch of the sponges in there. So any beneficial bacteria that's on the surfaces of those sponge filters, we're obviously losing. Now, I am running 3 filters on this tank, so it's not as big of a deal, but it's still a good idea, especially if you are one of those individuals running only 1 filter, because you're going to be losing that big chunk of beneficial bacteria. So you don't want to potentially crash your tank. Now, most systems have plenty of surface area in the tank itself to accommodate the biological needs, but it's just a good practice to have. Okay, so we're going to open up the filter now, and let's go step by step by what we have in here. Now, the top tray is my biological. All I have in there is a bag of Biohome. I believe it was a pound of Biohome, and then just some ceramic rings that came with miscellaneous filters that I've purchased here and there. So that's going to be the first to go in the bucket of tank water that we have. Now, next, I'm going to be pulling out all the current mechanical media I have in there. In this case, it's all egg crate foam, or this was actually purchased as acoustic sound deadening foam. I believe it was around 12 bucks or so off of Amazon for 6-7 sheets of this. They're 12 by 12 sheets. The nice thing with all the dimples on it is it's just more surface area. You're going to hear me say surface area for beneficial biological, bacteria a lot during this video. But anyway, I'm not sure how much of it I want to use this time around, so we're going to throw all my sponges into a bucket for the time being off to the side. They should be fine for now, so I shouldn't lose much of the bacteria them just laying in that bucket. So, the first of our 4 trays, we're going to be putting in the new filter media. Now, I bought Coarse Pond, I believe it was, grade filter pad. It was about 20 bucks for 5 or 6 feet, I forget off the top of my head. We'll just call it 5 feet. 5 feet by 1 foot wide by 1 inch thick coarse foam filter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the old filter pad to cut out the new one. Now, it's obviously not going to be perfect, and this is when I realized I got to get a sharper pair of scissors because these Harbor Freight ones just weren't cutting it. But for $1, I'm over it. So anyway, we're going to make 2 levels of this because my cutting obviously isn't very good, so we're going to really cram this in and try to fill every void so that there aren't any spots where the water can bypass the sponge material easily. because then it kind of defeats the purpose of filtering the water. So we'll do 2 layers in the first tray, and we're also going to do this in the second tray. Now when I was cutting for the second tray, I figured, you know what, let me try outlining the tray itself, and it actually worked out better. Gave me a little more wiggle room so it wasn't too small. I would rather have a little bigger so it's easier to fill in any of the gaps I'd mentioned in the step beforehand. So since we're doubling up each tray, that's going to be 4 layers of coarse filter pad that this gunk is going to have to get through first. Now for the third tray, I decided, yes, I am going to reuse some of the medium coarse, or it's actually even a very fine coarse filter pad, the acoustic wall padding. What most people like to do when they're staggering the media in their filter is you go very coarse, medium, then you have your bio, then you have your fine. In this case, I'm going to move the fine before the biological because I just don't like a bunch of gunk getting stuck in that biological. So we're going to filter as much particulate out of this water before it hits the biological. That's just how I like to do it, and it seems to work for me. So on top of the existing medium coarse foam, I'm going to put a bunch of polyfill. Now, most people in the hobby obviously know what polyfill is. People have been using it for quite a while. It's cheap. You can go to any craft store or go online and get it. I got this bag, I believe it was $5 or $6 at Michael's, and this is going to last me probably 6-7 months. So pretty good bargain. And now the last thing we're going to put on tray 4 is our biological media that we've had soaking in our tank water. Now notice the one pad that I did reuse, I gave that a good rinse in there too. Like I said, that established tank water, it's a really good precautionary step. So highly recommend it. Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do is we're now going to siphon water from the tank into the canister. This really helps with priming it, because you are going to create a bit of an air pocket now that you've opened it all up and poured all the water out. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to siphon water into it, put it all back together, seal it up, put it under the tank, and fire up. And that's pretty much it. That's how I do my filters. I try to maintain canisters on alternating months. So 1 month I'll clean out 1 canister, and the next month I'll clean out the other. So next month, in like 3-4 weeks time, I'm going to take apart the other sunsun and replace some of that filter media. It's probably been, I don't know, 6-7 months since I've actually replaced any of it. So that's just an interval I've been going off of. I may even need to do it a little more frequently. But every time I do a water change, I do rinse out my pre-sponge filters I gotten from Aquarium Co-op. They fit really well over the intakes on the sunsuns. And those get rinsed every single water change in clean tank water in a bucket. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Yay!